May 1798. 40,000 soldiers, 10,000 sailors, and more than 200 scientists join a ship with no idea of their destination. Since the Revolution, England and France have been sworn enemies. The French government has instructed Napoleon Bonaparte to invade England. Given how unlikely this project is to succeed, Bonaparte prefers to attack England's colonial interests, the source of the country's fortunes. But the success of his plan entirely depends on the secrecy surrounding this huge military expedition, in which young students from some of France's top universities are participating.
Well, Villiers, here we are. Hey, have you ever seen so many people? Have you ever seen so many soldiers and sailors?
I don't know where we're going, Jourdois, but I'm delighted to be part of the adventure.
Aren't you curious about our destination?
I have no objection to mystery.
In any case, they'd hardly tell mere students like us where we're going.
Could be Rome?
No.
Portugal or Bengal, General Kleber, you cannot leave us in ignorance. A man of your standing would surely be aware of our destination.
Surely, General Manu, you must know where we're heading.
Take care, Dejanette. You know we are all under orders to keep our destination a secret.
Only a privileged few like Monge, the famous mathematician, and Berthollet, a renowned physician, are party to Bonaparte's secrets.
Well, Citizen Monge, are you thinking about the future reserved for our scholars on this glorious expedition?
No, I was thinking about the English. You must confess, General, they have a strong presence in the Mediterranean, and that Admiral Nelson dreams of facing you in battle.
Well, then, let Nelson waste his time dreaming.
Bonaparte takes to the sea, leading a fleet of 400 ships. But at all costs, he must avoid the English, the masters of the seas, and Nelson's fearsome fleet in the Mediterranean. Bonaparte took part in the French Revolution and enjoyed a dazzling rise to military glory. At the age of 29, the young general-in-chief is launching an ambitious expedition that will, if successful, open the gates to the Orient and make him a rival to the great conquerors of the past, Caesar and Alexander, whom he so admires. The vast convoy advances desperately slowly. But by chance, it manages to avoid the English. Bonaparte even manages to seize the island of Malta without any trouble. Around 40 scientists are put off by the conditions on board and frightened by the military nature of the expedition. So they take advantage of their stop on Malta to demand to leave the convoy and return to France. There are now 167 left, at odds with the soldiers who are making their lives a misery.
You were right, Jourdois. These soldiers are a crafty lot.
Villiers. And what would you do with only 30 sous for our meals each day?
We'll manage. How would you like it without enough food to eat and packed in 80 per room, with a basic hammock and a blanket for your bed? Not to mention the stink below deck.
I just hope the voyage won't be too long.
Villiers and Jollois are both students of the École Polytechnique, where they became friends. With the enthusiasm of their youth and their heads filled with dreams of discoveries and exploits, on a suggestion from Monge, their geometry professor, they signed up for this great expedition. Villiers is just 18. He hails from a family that was ruined by the Revolution. He joined the Polytechnique 15 months previously with the ambition to become a civil engineer. At the age of 23, Jollois had just graduated in engineering when he joined the adventure.
Hourlier and Villiers, who kept a very interesting journal, are highly representative of this group of young men who joined the scientific expedition.
An announcement from General-in-Chief Bonaparte. Men, you are embarking on the conquest of Egypt, a country that has had untold influence on world civilization and trade.
You will be dealing a painful blow to Britain while we wait to hit them with the coup de grace. The people with whom we will be living are Mohammedans. You must respect their muftis and imams as you respect your own bishops and rabbis.
An announcement from General-in-Chief.
The land of the pharaohs is a dream destination, and on every ship this news is met with enthusiasm.
Egypt, General Kleber, the cradle of civilization. Thank heavens. I must confess, I've wanted to make this voyage my whole life.
We are going to a beautiful country where we will achieve great things.
You will find different customs from those you are used to in Europe. You will have to get used to them.
The invasion of Egypt, or the possession of Egypt, would lead to the control of the Mediterranean, which would take that away from the British Navy, but would also lead to an overland attempt at perhaps British India, of course, where there were French interests at the same time.
To reach the Indies, English ships had to sail around Africa. Bonaparte also has to examine the possibility of a twin port arrangement, or even a canal linking the Mediterranean to the Red Sea, which would allow French ships to bypass English trade routes.
Bonaparte is also instructed to plan for an enduring French presence in Egypt, because if a twin port or a canal is to be created, a stable position in Egypt will be required in order to use them.
At every step, we will have adventures to inspire the French people. Signed, Bonaparte. Fallout.
Egypt, Hourlier. We're going to Egypt.
Such a country worthy of admiration and study.
But I didn't learn how to measure civilization at the Polytechnique. How does one go about it?
Are you disappointed?
No, are you mad? If I don't know, I will learn.
When they discover that Egypt is their destination, these young men aren't thinking about war or conquest. They are mainly thinking about what they will discover there, in the Egypt they'd fantasized about. Egypt is fashionable, and they will also be able to do their job there, trying to improve people's lives.
The revolution has only just happened. The revolution that considered the pharaohs to be the source of civilization. So they aren't just bringing civilization to the Egyptians, they'll be taking civilization back to its very cradle. It's in this spirit that Bonaparte, these scholars and these artists head for Egypt.
Bonaparte takes a very wide range of specialist scholars with him because he's going to need them. Firstly, to help the army in its conquest, but also to prepare for an enduring French settlement in the country. Egypt is far from France, so soldiers have to be fed, crops watered, plans drawn up. They need fortifications and much more. So all kinds of different experts are required to support the General-in-Chief. Of course, Villiers and Hourlier are not prepared for what is in store. They are academics used to laboratories, who have no idea what war or conquest really mean. They don't even know what populations they will encounter there.
When the Egyptian coast finally appears on the horizon after 6 weeks at sea, the scholars, suffering greatly from the bad weather, are forbidden to disembark. It's too dangerous. Only the soldiers are permitted to land. The swell is so strong that Vice Admiral Barres recommends that the General-in-Chief delay disembarkation until the following day. But Bonaparte rejects this. He knows that the English are looking for the French fleet and that there's no time to waste. The scientists look on in a terror made even worse by the darkening sky as a ship transporting some of their instruments founders on the rocks and sinks. The task is slow and hazardous, but nothing will stop Bonaparte and 5,000 men setting foot on Egyptian soil. First objective, Alexandria, the second biggest city in Egypt. Bonaparte has had a declaration in French and Arabic printed on board in which he declares he is the son of the Prophet and the Revolution, come to save the Egyptians from the tyranny of the Mamelukes, who have controlled the country for 5 centuries. The Egyptians, though, don't believe a word of it. They welcome him with weapons drawn. The fort of Alexandria is taken, and the French soldiers enter a city that is far less splendid than they had been anticipating.
The French soldiers were very disappointed when they took Alexandria on the 1st of July, 1798. What they actually discover is a maze of streets full of filth and wild dogs where disease proliferates. The city is hugely impoverished, and they are disillusioned.
Having covered the rear by taking Alexandria, it's now time to march on Cairo, the biggest city in Egypt. General Kléber had been wounded during the assault on the fort of Alexandria. A fervent Republican, this former architect earned his general's rank fighting in the revolution. Kléber is a charismatic man and a model for his soldiers.
Citizen General, is it your wish that we converge all our forces on Cairo?
Not you, General Kléber. You must take care of your wound and remain at the garrison in Alexandria, making it our rearguard base. Ask Conte what he can do to compensate for the loss of our instruments, and have him make weapons. We need cannonballs.
Should I accompany you, General?
Not immediately. You, General Manu, must take the port and the city of Rosetta, coming from the sea. Another division will head for Damietta. That way, we will control 3 ports here on the Mediterranean in Lower Egypt. Then you will join me. The task should be a simple one. All the civilians and scholars will accompany you, General Manu, except for citizens Monge and Berthollet, whom I insist remain with me. However, you, General Dezay, you will take charge of opening the route to Cairo and Middle Egypt. If we take Cairo, gentlemen, Egypt will be ours.
The best way to do that would seem to be to follow the Nile, along the Damietta tributary.
And give the Mamluks the chance to organize their defenses? No. Speed is of the essence. You will take this route on foot, which follows the canal that links Alexandria to Cairo, here.
Through the desert? If the army does not move at lightning speed, they will perish. We will never find enough water for 1,000 thirsty men.
It is the shortest route. You leave tomorrow, Dezay.
General Dezay is an aristocrat dedicated to his country and to the General-in-Chief. Excellent in combat, a brilliant mind, and a cultured man, he is very much appreciated by Bonaparte. The expedition is divided in 2. While the majority of the scholars and artists head for Rosetta, most of the army heads into the desert. The soldiers are prepared to fight, but not for what they must now face. Each step is dragged through burning sand, and the air is stifling in the lungs. Dressed in wool, in the oppressive heat, the soldiers don't even have water bottles, and only sheer will drives them on. But these men would never disobey an order from Bonaparte, however impetuous it may seem. More used to teaching students in Parisian lecture rooms than being on the ground, these eminent scholars are not expecting such a trial. The desert sands traveled by the French troops are left littered with the corpses of soldiers not up to the challenge. Then they finally reach the banks of the Nile. Many throw themselves in the river fully clothed, so thirsty are they. Some even drown.